Hello PokePals, welcome back to another video. I recently went to a card store to pick up some GLC playables. This is the haul that I got. I got 4 copies of Staryu with free retreat, 2 holofoil copies of Abyssal Hand Octillery, 2 copies of Scatter Wishy-Washy, 1 copy of Water Shuriken Greninja, 2 copies of Exciting Flame Heatmore, 1 copy of Flame Fighter Infernape, which is really good in burn decks, 1 holofoil copy of Dustox with Ancient Trait Plus, 2 copies of Leaf Drop Shiftry, 1 copy of Dark Squall Hydreigon, 2 copies of Spoil the Fun Alola Meowth, 3 copies of Hitmonchan and 2 copies of Hitmonlee that are part of the Hitmonbros combo, 4 copies of Detect Riolu, 2 copies of Lucario with the ability Precognitive Aura, 1 copy of Fast Call Dragonite, 1 copy of Scornful Storm Salamence, 2 copies of Nurture and Heal Sceptile and 2 copies of Power of Nature Sceptile, 2 copies of Trapping Thread Ariados, 1 Cosmofoil copy of Sunny Day Lurantis, 1 copy of Copycat Mimikyu, 3 copies of Ultra Prism Turtwig, 2 copies of Irritating Pollen Vileplume, 1 copy of Torchic with Ancient Trait Barrage, 2 holofoil copies of Glaciate Kyurem, 1 non-holo, 1 reverse holo Salvage Lantern, 2 Cosmo Holo Tapu Kokos, 3 copies of EvoShock Raichu, 2 copies of Garbotoxin Garbodor, 5 copies of Let Loose Marshadow, 4 copies of Psychic Recharge Malamar, 1 non-foil, 1 foil Medicham with Ancient Trait Barrage, 1 reverse holo Drill Bazooka Excadrill, 1 Toppling Wind Rhyperior and 1 Bedrock Shake Rhyperior, 5 non-holo, 2 reverse holo Ascension Zoruas, 2 holo stand-in Zoroarks, 1 Eerie Voice Gourgeist, 1 Nightcap Nihiligo, 2 reverse holo Le Parfum Roserades, 4 Evil Admonition Weaviles, and 2 Quick Ripening Herb Meganiums. That rounds out the Pokemon. Now let's take a look at the trainers. I got 1 copy of Bridget, 6 copies of Rescue Stretcher, 5 copies of Guzma, 1 U-Turn Board, 3 copies of Crasher Wake, 1 copy of Lusamine, 1 copy of Custom Catcher, 1 copy of Fire Crystal, 2 non-holo, 1 reverse holo Giant Hearth, 1 copy of Mallow and Lana, 2 copies of Karate Belt, 4 copies of Hustle Belt, 3 copies of Misty's Favor, 5 copies of Professor's Letter, 5 copies of Reset Stamp, 11 copies of Turffield Stadium, 1 Acrobike, 9 copies of Green's Exploration, 25 copies of Tate and Liza, 5 copies of Cynthia, 3 copies of Evosoda, 1 copy of Netball, 3 copies of Stadium Nav, 1 copy of Electropower, 1 copy of Pokegear 3.0, and some copies of Blend Energy. I also got some cards for people I know: Scraggy, Raikou, Shaman, and Jirachi. If you know, you know. And finally, some cards that I got just because. Claydol, Torterra, Altaria. Torterra was the first holofoil I ever owned, and Altaria happens to be my favorite Pokemon. Overall, I spent about $100 on all of the cards. I hope you liked the breakdown, and let me know how I did in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.